soon. So a lot of promotion back and forth. So what else do you have to know? Well, IPv4 and IPv6 are not backwards compatible. So they are going to be running in parallel for many years to come. There will have to be a lot of translation between IPv4 and IPv6 addresses. And the problem with that is that it is the same word, the translation, as in NAT. But in IPv6, we don't need network address translation. We need translation from basically one type of numbering to the other type of numbering. It used to be called NAT-PT, and now it has a different name in ITF. And now there is NAT. So this is what was used to start with in parallel with the development of IPv6 when they envisioned that there will be the shortage of addresses. So they were saying, okay, never mind, we'll just use private addresses and we'll break this end-to-end communication principle. And IPv6 can bring that back again. The problem is, now the NAT became a synonym for the firewall. So as Marko was saying, we will still need firewalls, but we will not need translation. And it is the specifications, the standards are still not ready for the firewalls or for the translations between IPv4 and IPv6. And this is where you come into the picture. So the future of the internet should not be determined with these people who created IPv4 with all these mistakes, IPv6 with all these mistakes. These are the people that need your help. So Internet Engineering Task Force, Internet Research Task Force, ISOC, so many letters. Internet Society, ICANN, RIPE, and North American Network Operators Group. These are all the organizations that are very, very similar to the community of hackers, to the community of free source and open source software. These are all the grassroots movements. Techies who drink too much coffee and eat too many cookies. People who are into gadgets. People who are not afraid of speaking up and sharing their opinion and improving on somebody else's code. So these are the communities that actually need your input. They're all open. So theoretically, the only thing that you need to have is opinion, which I'm sure you have, and an email account. So you have to subscribe to many, many mailing lists, and you have to follow, so you have to have time for that, but it's not an investment of money, it's the investment of your time, and you can make things happen in a different way. So IETF is responsible for RFCs. These are de facto standards. Before they become standards, they are the internet drafts. So when the hardware manufacturer wants to create a modem, they have to read these drafts, and you can be the person actually writing those drafts and telling them, this is what I want to use later on. So these are the areas where maybe you would be interested in. There is a lot of work in the security area, the routing security, DNSSEC. The Internet Research Task Force is busy with some cool protocols that are actually only experimental, and maybe they will never be implemented, but maybe they will. On the last IETF meeting that was held in Stockholm last week, or 2 weeks ago, there were several meetings of so-called birds of feathers. So before there is a working group about something, there is a meeting of people who are interested in a certain topic, and the Codex community is now trying to work together with IETF to standardize Codex. The Virtual Worlds community is creating the open grid to standardize the virtual worlds. So all these new technologies that actually developed outside of IETF now want to get together with this standardization community, and if you're interested in that, you can take part in it. About IPv6, there are working groups that are busy with that, IPv6 operations, tunneling, and the NAT, the classical NAT, and then the NAT between IPv6 and IPv4. Okay, so this was about very technical things. Now, how do you determine how many addresses are you going to receive at home? Or how many addresses is your ISP going to receive in the future? The most interesting policies that are being discussed now are what are we going to do with the remaining IPv4 space? So this is happening in the RIPE community. And again, the only thing you need is an email account and you can participate in the mailing list. So this community is also open and transparent. Everything is documented. The documents are published. They're called RIPE documents. They're also kind of standards. The minutes of all the meetings are published, so you can see what was happening before. So this is all made in a very, very friendly and peaceful way, and you have to have quite a tough skin to get into this because they know each other, they know their lingo, and it will take you some time to actually get used to it. So don't be afraid of being flamed, don't be afraid of being attacked, because what matters is how valuable your opinion is and how valuable your contribution is. Here you can find the working groups, and if you want to come to the RIPE meeting, they are a lot of fun. They don't happen on the camping ground like this, they happen in the conference halls. There was one in Berlin recently, in Dubai, in Amsterdam. There is always a possibility for remote participation. There are webcasts, there are audiocasts, there are Jabber channels in which you can ask your questions and take part remotely. And the next meeting is in Lisbon in October. Nice weather, 1 week of working groups or vacation, whatever way you want to bring it to your boss. So come to the RIPE meeting and help us to create the addressing policies. And again, I'm putting this as a challenge to you. Both RIPE community and IETF community do need fresh blood. We are trying to reach out to other audiences. We now have the YouTube publishing videos. We have the Twitter channel, but still, most of the things are happening on the mailing lists, and a lot of things are happening in the face-to-face meetings. You can tell us, how can we include more people? How can we hear more voices? So you can see in my slides URLs for all these things that I mentioned in the notes. The slides will be published somewhere on the HAR wiki. And if you have any questions or comments, this is my address at Access for All, and it's the same at ripe.net. So this is what I had to say. Go get IPv6. Stay here to hear Marco after 5, and I will take some questions now.
Shall we use up IPv4 space?
Okay, so the question is, shall we hurry up and use up the IPv4 space? We don't have to hurry, it will happen. But actually there was a policy proposal several years ago by a Japanese gentleman saying, let's just stop using